Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. I'm going to start today by finishing some unfinished business from yesterday's vlog. At the end of yesterday's vlog, I welcomed a new subscriber, but I could not welcome that new subscriber by name because I wrote it down somewhere and then I couldn't find it in my notes. I found it since then, so today I'm going to make up for yesterday and welcome new subscriber. Well, you know what? I have the name in front of me, but I'm still not sure. The reason is because of the font that YouTube uses in their text. It's one of those very plain fonts where a lowercase l and a capital I look the same. So if you're looking at the first letter of something, of a name, you don't know if you're looking at a lowercase l or an uppercase I. So welcome new subscriber, I got a 9 or L got a 9. If you want to correct me in the comments, then I would love to know how to pronounce your name. But for now, it's either I got a 9 or L got a 9. And now on to today's subject, which I'm going to start as I started yesterday's subject, in fact, by reading a comment, because as happened yesterday, the comment that I got today, it relates to the topic that I'm going to talk about. The comment, just to fill people in if you didn't see the earlier vlog to which Lynn777 is referring, and I hope a lot of you didn't see it because you're all new subscribers. I hope I got a lot of new subscribers who didn't see it. So to fill you folks in, it was about which candidate would Trump prefer out of the Democratic candidate lineup. Which of those candidates would Trump, if he had his choice, which of them would he prefer to run against? And I said my preferred outcome, regardless of who the eventual nominee turns out to be, my wish was to have a brokered convention where two or more candidates come in with too few votes to get nominated on the first ballot. I think that President Trump would love to run against Vice President Biden. He isn't quick on his feet like Warren and Bernie. Sorry, but chaos is on the Republican side! Exclamation point. Will President Trump run again, or will it be President Pence? More Republicans in Congress are saying that Trump should be investigated. We will see. First of all, I make it a practice. I can't say I always do it because I'm only human, but I try not to respond to an opinion because this vlog is the platform for my opinion. So I leave the comments for all of you to state your opinions. But I do respond sometimes if I see either a fact that needs to be corrected or a larger point that grows out of the comment that I think people would be interested in, or if I see something that I think that the commenter missed. So I guess it's the latter case, the last case, about missing something. So Lynn777, sorry, but chaos is on the Republican side. When you say chaos is on the Republican side, you're not really saying anything because there is chaos on the Republican side most of the time. That's a problem that I personally have with him. That's the usual case. That's the default setting for the Republican Party. So I guess I should clarify that when I said I want chaos in the Democratic convention, well, let me put it this way. If there is only half as much chaos at the Democratic convention as there is in the Republican Party, most of the time, I'll be a happy camper. The other part is that when we're talking about chaos, that means confusion. But I would just point out that the alternatives that you point out here, the possibilities, I don't see the chaos there so much because they're either or situations where Republicans don't have to argue. In other words, You have, well, Trump has said he is running. He hasn't given any indication that he's going to drop out, but if he did, you see it's an either or, and it's up to Trump. Either he will or he won't. So there's no chaos. And then, as you have said here, if Trump were to drop out, this is the possible chaos, I suppose. If Trump were to resign or be removed from office, then Mike Pence would automatically become president. So there's no chaos there. That's what's in the Constitution. That's what would happen. There's nothing to argue about. Now, where there's potential chaos, it would be if Pence said, I'm going to be the candidate in 2020, and other Republicans disputed that, other candidates stepped up. Then there could be a situation similar to what I'm hoping for the Democrats, a brokered convention where you have several Republican candidates vying for the nomination. But in that unlikely event of Trump resigning or being removed, I would pretty much expect Pence to be the nominee. So thanks a lot, Lynn777. You've commented before, and your comments have always had some value to me. I think I've commented on past comments because I've gotten something out of them. And now with the preliminaries done, into the meat of today's subject, which is impeachment. I just want to give a little bit of an update or a comment because the Democrats are starting to realize, well, let me digress as I do sometimes, because I would just mention, as I think it's obvious, if you're trying to figure out how damaging the hearings are, these secret hearings are to Trump, the question really answers itself, I think, simply by the fact that these hearings are being held in secret. If the hearings were producing results that were so damaging to Trump, then these hearings would be public. They would be held the usual way with a House vote for an official impeachment inquiry. The Republicans would be able to cross-examine, but it wouldn't matter because the facts would be so damaging to Trump that any cross-examination would be ineffective. And we could also say the same about any rebuttal witnesses that the Republicans might call. If the House Democrats were so sure of their facts and the strength of their facts, these hearings would be public, but they're not. So that alone, obviously it doesn't 100% tell you that they don't have anything, because we don't know what is going on in these hearings except for selective leaks. For instance, we had Bill Taylor testifying yesterday. We don't know the testimony. We have his statement. There are, well, Kevin McCarthy, the minority leader in the House, he said they're constrained, the Republicans are, by House rules, that because these hearings are secret, whatever goes on in that committee has to remain secret. So the Republicans cannot come out and say what was said or what happened in the hearings. That's the problem that they're under. But what House Republican who was in the committee, who was at the testimony of Bill Taylor, said, I cannot tell you what was said in that hearing, but I can tell you what was not said. So he said what was not said was that there was a quid pro quo, which is what the House is hanging this whole impeachment process on, is that there was some quid pro quo in the phone call between President Trump and the president of Ukraine. And you also had Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, who said that Ratcliffe destroyed Bill Taylor's testimony in 90 seconds. We don't know what was said because the Republicans can't say what was said, but it's pretty easy to infer from what I've read that Bill Taylor was asked whether he knew, whether he could swear that president of the Ukraine, Zelensky, knew that military aid was being withheld during that July 25th phone call? The answer obviously is no, I would think. I think that's what they're looking for. They're fishing, they're trying to find somebody to testify under oath that Zelensky knew that the military aid was being held up, and that it was being held up specifically because Donald Trump wanted dirt dug up on Joe Biden. I don't think they have anybody like that, because if they did, that would be public. Now, the problem for the Democrats that they're finding out about, and this gets back to my hope for chaos and the primaries and all that, is that they're running up against, I guess you would call it, an unofficial deadline, because you have all these events coming up very soon. You're going to have the Democratic primaries, you're going to have the convention, the Democratic convention, you're going to then have the election, but the primaries, I believe they start in March. So do the Democrats want this impeachment inquiry going on during the primaries? Do they want this story sucking out all of the oxygen from whatever the various candidates, the Democratic candidates, may be saying or doing? And then when you get into the campaign itself, do you want the Democrats having to run their presidential candidate, that campaign, at the same time as we're all fixated on the trial of Donald Trump? Or maybe not even the trial yet, but just voting on whether to impeach. So, well, I think they would have voted by then, but that's the deadline they're running into. Also, Thanksgiving is coming up. It doesn't look like they would be able to vote for an impeachment, for articles of impeachment to send to the Senate by Thanksgiving, maybe not by Christmas. If they can't do that by Christmas, then you're already into January 2020, and the Democratic primaries coming up in March, 3 months later, right? And then as you go along and have the Senate trial, if it gets that far, when does that end? Suppose the Democrats in the House send over articles of impeachment in January, which seems pretty likely, and that the trial in the Senate, preparing for the trial and all that, takes, say, 5-6 months. So you're going to remove Donald Trump, the President of the United States, 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 months, but probably, say, 3 months before the American people get to decide. Do they really want to do that? That's what they're up against. There's one more wrench getting thrown into the works now. This just came over the internet just a little while ago. So, it's by the time you're seeing this, it's no longer going to be breaking news, but in case you missed it, well, look at this headline. Senate GOP introduces resolution condemning House impeachment inquiry. Senate Republicans introduced a resolution on Thursday condemning the impeachment inquiry against President Trump and calling on the House to hold a formal vote on the inquiry. Senate Judiciary Committee, well, there's obviously a typo there. I think the article meant to say Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, is spearheading the resolution, which is backed by 39 GOP senators, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky. So first off, right there, if Mitch McConnell, the majority leader in the Senate, is one of the sponsors, you can be sure that this resolution is going to come up to a vote, or at least reasonably sure, but I'm pretty sure. Next quote, and this is Lindsey Graham, quote, "We cannot have a country where every American has rights except Donald Trump. I find the current process illegitimate and dangerous to the future of the presidency," unquote. He continued, quote, "This resolution puts the Senate on record condemning the House. Here's the point of the resolution. Any impeachment vote based on this process, to me, is illegitimate. is unconstitutional and should be dismissed in the Senate without a trial, unquote, Graham told Fox News' Sean Hannity. My personal opinion is that that last part of the quote, that should be made a separate resolution. Graham should introduce a separate resolution saying that if the House sends over articles of impeachment derived from the process they're using now, no right of Republicans to cross-examine the Democrats' witnesses, no right to subpoena their own witnesses, everything done in secret. Oh, and one other thing, if you remember the Clinton impeachment hearings in the House, each side had a lawyer. Lawyers were able to question witnesses. So that would be another requirement I would think that they would want. But the point is that there should be a separate resolution putting the House on notice that if they send over articles of impeachment derived under the process that they are currently using, that never mind Trump not being convicted and removed from office, there won't even be a trial at all. And then the question for Pelosi and Schiff and the rest of the House Democrats will be, do you want to continue down this road, or do you want to have a fair and open process? Do you want to have a fair and open process, or do you want to waste your time and the country's time and the Senate's time and the taxpayers' money pursuing a process of impeachment that will not even lead to a trial? And that's it for today. Thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with anybody else you think would like the video. If you have comments, you can put them in the comment section below the video. You can subscribe. I love subscribers. You can get other people to subscribe. And finally, you can come back and see me again. I'll be right here waiting for you. And until I do see you again, bye.